Hey everyone, welcome back to Hands on Books. But if this is your first time here, the idea behind the show is to do something fun and creative with my favorite hobby, which is book collecting. So I've got a pile of unopened, mostly used books here that we pick from at random to see what we get. Maybe you'll find your next book or be introduced to a new topic, but the goal here is to share the experience of the books themselves. If this is something you enjoy, feel free to like the video, subscribe to the channel to receive notifications, leave a comment, and share with your friends. Let's get started. All right, what do we got? You can already tell it's packed really nice, or really securely. The Religions of Man by Huston Smith. So this is just a classic that I figured couldn't hurt to have like a cool old version of. I read a book by Huston Smith a long time ago called Cleansing the Doors of Perception, but I've never written this one, which is maybe his most famous book. So let's read the back of it here. Here is a unique study of the world's great religions: Hinduism, Buddhism, Confucianism, Taoism, Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. It is not a history. It is not a critique. Instead, it explains, simply and sympathetically, the basic tenets of each religion and the reasons why it attracts millions of devout followers. As the author writes in the first chapter, this is a book about religion that exists not as a dull habit, but as an acute fever. It is about religion alive, and whenever religion comes to life, it displays a startling quality. It takes over. All else, while not silenced, becomes subdued and thrown without contest into a supporting role. Thoroughly researched, The Religions of Man carries its scholarship lightly. It is a dependable, informative, fascinating presentation of both the differences and similarities in the major religious traditions, and it is essential for anyone who would understand peoples of other lands, other cultures, other religions. And this cool cover design by Ellen Raskin. So this was originally 95 cents. So this book's originally from 58. This version, this paperback's from 65. Let me see how it smells. This one smells like a musty old library, which is perfect. Dedication to Alice Longden Smith and Wesley Moreland Smith, missionaries to China for 41 years. Maybe this is an English translation of this in Chinese. When I behold the sacred Liao Wo, a species of grass symbolizing parenthood, my thoughts return to those who begot me, raised me, and now are tired. I would repay the bounty they have given me, but it is as the sky. It can never be approached. So it's split up into chapters, one to each religion that was already mentioned. And we have underlining in pen. Oh no. Gosh. It's not what I like to see. At least it's very straight underlining. They must have used a ruler. Let's see how bad it is. Oh, it's all throughout the book. Oh no, it's not. Oh, yeah, it is. Dang it. Okay, well, this would have been in really good condition, too, for 65. Gosh. Yeah, that's one thing I really don't like to see, or I really don't like to see in these underlining in pen, or highlighting especially. I'll read the first page of the preface here. In the spring of 1955, I gave a course on the religions of man over KETC, the St. Louis educational television station. The response revealed a real hunger on the part of Americans to know the great faiths that have motivated and continue to motivate the peoples of the world. Over 1,200 men and women in this one community enrolled as tuition-paying students, while the viewing audience rose to the neighborhood of 100,000. The second thing the response revealed was the need for a different kind of book on world religions, a book which, without sacrificing depth, would move more rapidly than the usual survey into the meaning these religions carry for the lives of their adherents. Letters from all parts of the country, which came to me as the series was subsequently shown by kinescopes in approximately 20 other cities, almost invariably asked either for transcripts of the lectures themselves or for a book along the same lines. Transcripts were not available for the lectures which had not been delivered from script, nor was there a single book I felt would directly meet the needs of these inquirers. For, despite innumerable masterful books in the field, I knew of none which took this as its single object, against the backdrop of critical scholarship, to carry the intelligent layman into the heart of the world's great living faiths, to the point where he might see and even feel why and how they guide and motivate the lives of those who live by them. This is the book I have tried to write. Let me go ahead and read the first page of Chapter 1, Point of Departure. I write these opening lines on a day widely celebrated throughout Christendom as Worldwide Communion Sunday. The sermon in the service I attended this morning dwelt on Christianity as a world phenomenon. From mud huts in Africa to igloos in Labrador, Christians are kneeling today to receive the elements of the Holy Eucharist. It was an impressive picture. Still, as I listened with half my mind, the other half wandered to the wider company of God-seekers. I thought of the Yemenite Jews as I watched them 6 months ago in their synagogue in Jerusalem. Dark-skinned men sitting shoeless and cross-legged on the floor, wrapped in the prayer shawls their ancestors wore in the desert. They are there today, at least a quorum of 10, morning and evening, swaying backwards and forwards like camel riders as they recite their Torah, following a form they inherit unconsciously from the centuries when their fathers were forbidden to ride the desert horse, and developed this pretense in compensation. Yalcin, the Muslim architect who guided me through the Blue Mosque in Istanbul, has completed his month's Ramazan fast that was beginning while we were together, but he too is praying today, 5 times as he prostrates himself toward Mecca. Swami Ramakrishna, in his tiny house by the Ganges at the foot of the Himalayas, will not speak today. He will continue the devotional silence, which, with the exception of 3 days each year, he has kept for 5 years. By this hour, U Nu is probably facing the delegations, crises, and cabinet meetings that are the lot of a prime minister. But from 4 to 6 this morning before the world broke upon him, he too was alone with the Eternal in the privacy of the Buddhist shrine that adjoins his home in Rangoon. At that, Daizhou and Laisan, Zen monks in Kyoto, were ahead of him by an hour. They have been up since 3 this morning, and until 11 tonight will spend most of the day sitting cross-legged and immovable as they seek with intense absorption to plumb the Buddha nature that lies at the center of their being. What a strange fellowship this is. God-seekers of every clime, lifting their voices in the most diverse ways imaginable to the God of all men. How does it all sound to him? Like Bedlam? Or in some mysterious way, does it blend into harmony? Does one faith carry the melody, the lead, or do the parts share in counterpoint, in antiphony, when not in solid chorus? We cannot know. All we can do is try to listen, carefully and with full attention, to each voice in turn as it is raised to the divine. All right. Yeah, whenever a book like this is marked up, it just sort of intrudes on the reading experience and it distracts the eye. So I feel like I end up reading the same paragraphs over and over and I get distracted by what somebody else thought important enough to mark for like their future reading, I guess is the motivation. I used to do that to books, and then I realized that I shouldn't. Yeah, it's like I probably won't read this book now, just because it's like tainted in my mind or something like that. It's already been like marked up. All right, so I bought this one from A Books. It was $8 total, $2.50 plus $5 shipping and taxes. Um, so if this hadn't been marked up in pen, I would be really happy with that because everything else about it is like perfect. But since it is, I can't say I am particularly satisfied with this one. And I just looked up the description of the book, and they said that it was a good condition with no name or writing. Clean! Exclamation point. So actually, I might just return this one because there is a name and there is writing. So this is the rare, 2% that I would ever actually return a book is when it's just doesn't match the description. It's like not at all what I paid for. So that's going to do it for this episode. Sorry it couldn't have been a cooler book to open, but until next time, happy reading.